Okay, hello everyone, welcome back. In my last video, I talked about semantic elements in HTML. Today, we're diving into something just as essential, which are HTML forms and input types. Forms are the backbone of user interaction on the web, whether it's signing up for a newsletter, making a process, or leaving a comment. So let's get started. Here, I already opened VS Code in my laptop. And here we're gonna write some code for demonstrating form and input elements. First, let's take a look at the basic structure of a form in HTML. Every form starts with the form text element, and inside this element we include various form controls like input, text, area, select, and buttons. I'm gonna write some code to demonstrate it for you. And I'm gonna create input with type of text, ID, name, and class and name equal to name. And for second control, it's email. It will be email as well. And the last one is button for the for functional for submitting functionality in this form. I'm gonna make this right here on the left side of the screen, and on the right side I'm gonna put the Chrome browser so you can see both of my text editor and the result in the Chrome browser. In this example, we have a simple form with two inputs, one for the username and one for their email address. The action attribute in the form text specify where the form data should be sent when it's submitted, and the method attributes determines how the data is sent. But right now I didn't add the method on purpose because I know it's not really necessary for you to know about this. Okay, let's move to another section. Now let's talk about the different inputs. Here there are two inputs. The input element is extremely personalized and can be used for various types of data. As you can see here, they are type for text, email, password, and other kind of input like checkbox, radio button, and so on. Here I'm gonna add two kind of button. Uh, I'm sorry, two kind of input. The first one is checkbox, and for the second, it will be radio button. and the name is gender. I'm gonna add some label. Subscribe it. Will be gender. I'm gonna duplicate this. Let's see if it's correctly function. Okay, it's functioning correctly. And there's still one input that I'm gonna add, which is a date. Input date. Name is DOB. Okay. Here, as you can see, there are lots of input input type that you can use to create a form, and it will be a function for your web app, especially if you're gonna make uh, an full stack web app. You probably have to some function like prompts to send data into the database. And here, HTML is already has it. For example, you can use the date input to take a date input or data. And here I'm gonna explain the text type in more detail. Here, the text type is used for single line text input. For the email is specifically for email addresses and passwords. Uh, hides the input text for the sensitive data. Uh, I'm sorry, I forgot to add that for the password input. Let's add it here. Password, password, and its input for the password type. Let's name it password and password again. Okay, as you can see here, there's a new input appear on the web, and when I type it, all things I type in this input will be displayed as a asterisk. And here we also have textbook and radio button for selecting option, and that, as I mentioned before, for selecting that. Maybe you wonder or want to know about what exactly the function of this label. Why why do I add it in my code? Well, labels are crucial for making prompts accessible. The label element associates a label with a specific prompt control, improving accessibility for screen reader. That's why you should add label whenever you create or build a form like this. And also, it's kinda a little bit additional function that you will get when you add label on the with the input. When you click the label, it will automatically your cursor into the field so you can directly add some text in input, the name, maybe like this. As you can see here, I click on the label instead of in the field of that input. And you notice here how the for attribute in the label matches the ID of the input. This simple connection makes the form more user-friendly and accessible. It's kinda make connection between the label and inputs, and I think it's a best practice to always use label with input. Okay, let's move on the next topic. HTML. HTML provides built-in validation that can be used to ensure user fill out form correctly before they submit them. And we're gonna take a look at some of the most common validation attributes. The most common one is require, and we're gonna add another like min late, maybe 8. Here, required and min late is an attribute for the validation functionality. In this example, the required attribute makes sure the email field isn't left blank. So you have to you have to text some you have to type some text in that name input, and for the min length attribute and process a minimum number of characters. Okay, let's try it. Let's give it a try. Here you will get notice. You will get notified if you haven't built this input. I'm gonna build it, and whenever I submit again, the the form will send the submit event secure. And there you have it, a comprehensive guide to HTML forms and input types. Whether you're building a simple context form or a complex application, understanding this basic is a key. If you found this video helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more web development tutorial. Also, don't forget to check out the previous video on semantic elements if you haven't already.